Dan, RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. Whoops, that was pretty smooth. I'm still working out some of the kinks, obviously, on our second show of the weekly Good News Report, or whatever I'm actually calling it. Sorry about all the sun I got going on all over my face on this particular camera. I probably should have waited another 30 minutes or so to record this, but didn't want to. I'm kind of running out of time as it is. So anyway, second annual, and I hope you guys enjoy. I've got my top 10 news stories, and they're not in any sort of order per se. They're just in the order they're in. And also, and I recommend this to all of you out there, I've got one listener-sponsored story, if you will, or someone chimed in to me and gave me an idea of a story they'd like me to do, and it was a good news story. So that is my final story. So to any of you out there that have a news story that you would like to share with me, feel free to email me at danradiostyle@gmail.com, and I will happily consider that wonderful show for you. So we're going to go ahead and hop onto my screen share here, which is, I think, what we're going to, that's how we're going to do this. And the very first story that we've got going on, since this compassionate doctor started his efforts to challenge sexism 7 years ago, 17,000 other medical officials have joined him on his mission to change public perception of giving birth to baby girls in light of Indian families berating mothers for giving birth to girls instead of boys. Dr. Ganesh Rak started delivering female babies for free. While convincing other doctors and nurses to follow his example, the practice has become widely endorsed by other Indian doctors and nurses alike. Another wonderful story. Over 750 million African people live in areas so devoid of clean water, they're forced to walk miles every day just to carry painstakingly heavy buckets of water on their heads. This results in severe neck and spinal damage for all the women and children forced to make this daily journey, as well as less time for getting an education and other household duties. The Hippo Roller is a durable 25-gallon drum that can be rolled across any terrain. The sealed container provides more hygienic and safe storage of water instead of families having to use open 20-liter buckets. Now, just to do the math for some of you that may not know, 25 gallons is the equivalent of 94.6 liters. So having a 25-gallon drum versus a 20-liter bucket, they've got more than 4 times the amount of water that they're getting on each trip. So that's a win-win-win on top of many things. Almost 70,000 fossil-fueled taxis in China's capital city of Beijing are to be replaced with electrically powered models. Though there has been no issued deadline on this initiative, the ambitious legislation won't necessarily assist in significantly cutting down on CO2 emissions within the area, but it will help usher in a new era of sustainably fueled vehicles. According to Draft Work Program on Air Pollution Control, the campaign will cost about $1.3 billion since electric cars are currently priced doubled as much as gasoline-powered cars. And in my opinion, this is definitely a step in the right direction. Now, Iceland is stepping to the ranks. Icelandic's representatives announced at the International Women's Day Summit in New York earlier this week that they plan on becoming the first country in the world to enforce equal pay for women at a national level. The law, which is set to be fully enforced by 2020, would require companies with more than 25 employees to become certified as an equal pay employer every 3 years. The bill is expected to receive wide support from the Icelandic parliament, which reportedly consists of half women and half men. All right, let me lose that piece of paper. All right, next story. To make these easily assembled water filters, you will spend about 1/10 the cost of previous methods and help deliver clean water using a device that has already quenched the thirsts of thousands of Bangladeshis. Biosand filters, BSFs, are inexpensive and simple-to-use household filters that use sand, gravel, and natural biological processes to filter pathogens out of water, making it safe for drinking. The nonprofit organization O Horizons has created a new, easier, and less expensive method for producing the concrete BSFs. Their do-it-yourself wood mold can be built by following a comprehensive construction manual that is available free online. I also have their link in the show notes below as well. O Horizons, pretty good company. All right, this is kind of a big deal. And what is being called the largest ever, I guess I should click on the picture, how about that? Is being called the largest ever wildlife haul in the country More than 4 tons of endangered turtles were rescued by police who busted a smuggling ring in India earlier this week. 6,430 freshwater flapshell turtles were discovered stuffed into 140 jute bags in Uttar Pradesh on the way to Southeast Asia. And for those of you that don't know what a jute bag is, because I certainly didn't, these are some examples of what jute bags tend to look like. I don't know why I went British all of a sudden. That's crazy. All right, and this guy here, this guy's pretty cool. Looks like a hippie, I'll be honest, he totally does. Even though the 9th Ward of New Orleans has New Orleans, sorry, I got to say it like you're supposed to. Even though the 9th Ward of New Orleans has never fully recovered from the destruction of Hurricane Katrina, this man has created a lush oasis of free food and sustainability right in the heart of the community. David Young founded a volunteer-run organization, Capstone Community Gardens, to support low-income city residents as well as honeybees that are in need of a safe, environmentally friendly home. He started the Garden Initiative after Katrina destroyed much of the district's infrastructure. The gardens, erected in more than 30 abandoned lots, grow everything from Swiss chard to Brussels sprouts, mustard greens, kale, cucumber, and tomatoes, and all are totally accessible to the community for free. There are no good grocery stores around this area, 39-year-old Capstone volunteer Amy Krause told Good News Network. The lower 9th Ward is the area that was devastated the most, the worst of the worst. Although there is a food pantry that opens once each month to the public, it usually doesn't provide the sustenance needed to feed all of the district's poorer residents. If you're low income, if you don't have any money, if you have no way to support yourself, that is not enough to live off of. They give a small amount of food for the entire month, said Krause. So David has made sure that these gardens are all over the community and people can go harvest them at any time. It's completely up to them. Alrighty, let's see. Yep, done with that story. All right. Hey now, good news from the South African national rugby team. They may have been on their way to play a big game, but that didn't stop them from pulling over to help some Canadian motorists in a big way. The Blitzboks were on their way to the BC Place Stadium in Vancouver on Saturday when they noticed a car pulled over to the side of the road with a busted tire. Despite the South Africans being on a deadline to play the Canada Sevens, they stopped their bus so they could hop out and lend a helping hand. Now, this story coming right here, I think this is just a cool, super awesome, feel-good story, and I certainly hope you feel the same way. It's a little longer than the other ones, but it's a very cool story. So anyway, we got them up here. This is when they were first involved early on. Nowadays, and I swear to God, I went searching for good pictures of these guys that were higher resolution and just could not find them. So I kept them kind of small and actually changed the entire structure of this PowerPoint because of these pictures. But anywho, a couple with Down syndrome has proved doubters wrong after 22 years of wedded bliss and a huge Facebook following of people inspired by their heartwarming story. Marianne and Tommy Pilling were thought to be the first Down syndrome couple to tie the knot in 1995, but were hit with a wave of criticism. The pair had dated for around 18 months before Tommy popped the question and the couple went on to wed at St. Mary's Church in Shoeburyness, Essex, England in July 1995. Now, 22 years later, Marianne, 45, and Tommy, 59, are still going strong, and the Facebook page set up by Marianne's sister, Lindy Newman, which follows the couple's romance, has racked up thousands of followers. Newman said the day Marianne met Tommy, she came home with the biggest smile on her face. She couldn't stop talking about him and asked if he could come for dinner. They dated for about 18 months, and then he approached my mom, Linda, to ask if he could propose. He had a toy ring from a vending machine. My mom immediately said yes, but wanted them to do it properly, so she took him to a jewelry shop to buy a proper ring. She received a lot of flack at the time for letting them get married, but she insisted, that was cool, but she insisted that it was their decision. Marianne had dreamt about a big white wedding since she was a little girl, and that's exactly what she had. It was a beautiful day. When they walk down the street holding hands, they make a statement, but in a good way. Some people stare. They assume people with Down syndrome and learning difficulties can't get married. But we also get so many lovely messages from people who are inspired by the story. People who are worried about their children or grandchildren with Down syndrome and hoping that they can get to a place like Marianne and Tommy's story. I hope that their children can also fall in love and live happily ever after. Marianne added, my wedding was the best day of my life. I was shocked when Tommy proposed, but I didn't have to think twice about saying yes. Tommy and I never argue. I love my husband very much. He is my best friend. The happy couple lives independently with family living next door in case they have any sorts of problems. Now, this next story is the 10th of the stories, and this is just a good, feel-good kind of story. And I thought it was worth bringing up because it, I think, makes a great point. So let's give a quick watch.
Dismissed from drama school with a note that read, wasting her time. She's too shy to put her best foot forward. Turned down by the Decca Recording Company, who said, we don't like their sound, and guitar music is on the way out. A failed soldier, farmer, and real estate agent. At 38 years old, he went to work for his father as a handyman. Cut from the high school basketball team, he went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. A teacher told him he was too stupid to learn anything, and he should go into a field where he might succeed by virtue of his pleasant personality. Fired from a newspaper because he lacked imagination and had no original ideas. His fiancée died. He failed in business twice. He had a nervous breakdown, and he was defeated in 8 elections.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. I did not mean to do that. Let's see if I can.
If you've never failed,
getting it close back. There we go.
You've never lived.
A lot of people have been told they were failures and still managed to do amazing things. Michael Jordan, Walt Disney, Abraham Lincoln, Lucille Ball, and Thomas Edison, just to name a few of them. So all these people had bad experiences that ultimately helped them not give up and become far greater than they were. All right, and the story that was provided by the listener in Plano, Texas. Officer Art Parker dashed through the halls of Clark County School early Monday morning looking for the emergency. The longtime school resource officer didn't know what had happened, just that Principal Janice Williams had called him and said she needed him in the gym. What he found when he opened the gym doors was no emergency, but rather a celebration for him. Parker, who has been with the Plano Police Department for 31 years, was recently named the department's Officer of the Year, making him the first school resource officer in department history to receive that award. To celebrate, the school hosted a surprise pep rally early Monday, complete with the color guard, cheerleaders, dance team, and band. I've never been so shocked in my life, Parker, 56, said. I never saw it coming for even a second. Students, staff, and faculty were joined by Plano police officers, top city officials, Superintendent Brian Bengeli, and Parker's family to celebrate the man with the unique police style. And given a quick little example of how that tends to roll, here's the man in the middle of it all. I dig that harmonica move. I'm so breaking that out, the next dance moves that I've got going on. So anyway, this was the next number two on the whole good news story. I swear, these will get smoother, I promise you. But the whole good news story, we're going to be doing more of these every Sunday is my plan, so hopefully you enjoyed. If you've got any questions, comments, queries, any of that kind of stuff, please feel free to email me at spiritradiodandstyle@gmail.com. I'm sorry. You can do danradiostyle@gmail.com too. The other one's just a freaking habit that I say over and over. But hopefully everybody enjoyed my channel, of course, Dan Radio Style. I appreciate you all for being here, and we'll do this again next week. Thank you so much.
I resolved to call her up 1,000 times a day and ask her if she'll marry me some old-fashioned way, but my silence